Good morning, my brothers and sisters, and all my friends. We have talked about the evolutionary mandate and the evolutionary mandate of infinite innocence and infinite trust. And that is the human station. That should be the mental attitude of the humanity, of the human mind, in order to create maximum good, in order to create an ecosystem of universal welfare. And how we could do that? We could do that by following the steps of Lord Shiva, the greatest yogi, the greatest cosmic yogi. The science of yoga got incarnated in the body of Lord Shiva, the greatest Lord. And he is popularly known as Bhole Nath, the Lord of innocence. And as I told you the story yesterday about the great demon Bhasmasura, who wanted to play the trick and take advantage of the cosmic law and destroy Lord Shiva in order to get hold of Mother Parvati, the divine feminine, the other part, the other half of Lord Shiva, the great Ardhanarishwara. And as we know, finally the Bhasmasura ended himself in a heap of ashes. He became the victim of his own tricks. My dear brothers and sisters, that is what happens to the human mind. If you trust too much, if you put your trust too much in tricks and smartness, and if you think you can manipulate the cosmic law for your own personal glory and the gratification, it always ends into the self-destruction. And that is what the greatest problem of 21st century is, that we are on the age of self-destruction. The humanity is in the biggest problem of suicide, the self-destruction. My dear brothers and sisters, we must take the lesson and take a heed, or we must look at the arrow of evolution. And the arrow of evolution is showing us that we must practice the engaged innocence. But as such, to practice engaged innocence can lead into a disaster also. As we have seen what happened to the Bhasmasura, who tried to play the tricks and who used his greatest intelligence to manipulate the cosmic law. He also ended in self-destruction. So on this side, on this polarity, there is also the danger of self-destruction. So the innocence, infinite innocence per se, may also end up in the self-destruction. So it's a double-edged sword. We have to walk on the edge of the sword and very carefully. So we have to infuse, we have to impregnate our engaged innocence with the greatest resolution, the greatest intention, strengthened and empowered with the willpower, our resolution of universal welfare. We have to infuse our engaged innocence with a universal welfare. That is what the Lord Shiva is. I'm not trying to advocate for the Hindu symbolism or Hindu religion, but what I'm trying to show to the humanity is that these symbols, which Hindus call gods, are just the symbols of harmony, and the greatest harmony established of the divine attributes. And Lord Shiva is the symbol of greatest harmony and the greatest beauty established of the divine attributes of universal welfare. We have to understand the molecule of water to understand Shiva. The infinite innocence is like the molecule of water. It doesn't insist upon its own identity. It doesn't insist upon its own form, its own taste, and its own color, its own sound, or its own feel. It doesn't insist on any identity. That is the molecule of water. So what is molecule of water? It's infinite urge and resolution to do good, the universal welfare. And it wakes up every other molecule in the universe to its own glory. That's what the molecule of water does. It gives a wake-up call to every other molecule in the universe to bring up its own colors. And the water says, I will hold your colors. That is what the water does. When we see the morning colors in the sky and the evening colors in the sky, the molecule of water is showing to the humanity that you don't need to insist upon your ego. You could be like molecule of water to practice the engaged universal welfare with the help of innocence. So innocence per se won't take us to our destination, but the innocence infused with the resolution of universal welfare without insisting upon our own ego, our own identity. And that is what Lord Shiva is. He is the Lord of innocence. That's what he does. He doesn't insist. He is nobody. Lord Shiva is the absolute embodiment of universal welfare. He exists only for universal welfare, leaving none outside the circle of compassion. Includes everybody, all the energies, all the polarities, all the extremes, everyone. And that is the reason when the god of fire said, Lord, I can't bring the acids to the heaven because those are impure. Lord Shiva said, there is nothing impure in this universe, and I abandon the heaven and I go to the earth, the planet of cosmic dust, and I'll go and give it life. He abandoned the heaven to rescue a cosmic Dalit, a cosmic downtrodden. He includes everybody. He loves everybody. That's all-inclusive, unconditional love. And Lord Shiva is the embodiment of universal welfare. That is what it means by engaged innocence, infused with the resolution of universal welfare, and that is the human station. That is the human station, evolutionary human station. And that is where we must align our consciousness to do good to the universe. And not only through our own body and through our own mind, knowing that the human birth is the greatest cosmic opportunity, and behaving like the custodians and not the owners here, and following the ultimate path of universal welfare, the 5 universal truths. My dear brothers and sisters, when Lord Shiva absolutely embodies the universal welfare, and he is like water. He wakes up everybody. He gives a wake-up call to everyone, and doesn't insist upon its own colors, yet it displays the colors of all the universe. The greatest heart, which loves everybody and gives an opportunity to bring up their own colors. That's the attitude of universal welfare. That's the attitude of infinite innocence. And that is the attitude of infinite engaged innocence when Lord Shiva, knowing the Bhasmasura is after the divine feminine, the other part, the other half of Lord Shiva, yet he let him do what he likes to do. And Bhasmasura ended up in a heap of ashes because of his own intelligence and his own tricks. My dear brothers and sisters, the humanity, this story, this symbolism of Lord Shiva is so beautiful. And as we know that from his head, the river Ganges flows on earth. The river Ganges which belongs to the heaven. The river of wisdom. The river of universal welfare. The wisdom of universal welfare. The universal benevolence. And King Bhagirath was blessed with this great boon that wherever he will go, the river Ganges will follow him. So the very first time, of course, he brought river Ganges to the ashram where his forefathers were waiting, the ashes of his forefathers were waiting to be rescued. With the help of river Ganges, of course, they were rescued to enter the heaven. What is the symbolism of King Bhagirath here? The symbolism of King Bhagirath here is that he represents the humanity, and that is the cosmic mandate that wherever the humanity will exist in the universe, the river Ganges must follow. The river Ganges of universal welfare must follow like water, like Shiva's egoless resolution. Like the molecule of water, which will give a wake-up call to every molecule and every atom in the universe to come up with their own colors and make this universe heaven, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God. So King Bhagirath represents the symbol of humanity, the humankind, and that is our work beyond 21st century. But first of all, we have to save ourselves from the Bhasmasura syndrome, because we are suffering from the syndrome. We are suffering from the disease. Excuse me. We are suffering from this great pandemic, the global disease, of telling each other that I am right and you are wrong, the judgmental mind, creating duality everywhere, and creating tension and fights and all kind of terrorism, is born out of this extreme judgmental mentality, judging everybody, I'm right and you are wrong. Whether we talk about the religious, whether we talk about the social or political philosophies or idealism, we always end up in a big fight. Why? Because we are locked in this prison of self-possessiveness of idealism. This is another extreme of idealism, where the great devils like Hitler, the great devils and demons like Ravana are born. That's the extreme of idealism. When the idealism is not directed, not infused with a great attitude of universal welfare for everybody, with the unconditional, all-inclusive compassion, then doesn't matter how great the idealism is, how beautiful it looks, but it will always end up into self-destruction. And that is Bhasmasura's syndrome. Believing and having this arrogance that we are very intelligent organisms on earth, and we are going gaga about our achievements of science and technology, about our atom bombs and our power to destroy. But we haven't learned the lessons about the power to build up the heaven on earth. We are lagging behind in that attitude. My dear brothers and sisters, if we don't take care of this Bhasmasura syndrome, this Bhasmasura problem, we will end up in self-destruction in 21st century. So we have to plan to go beyond. We have to have that goodwill, universal goodwill and universal empathy for each other. And we have to get rid of this extreme judgmental mentality, judging each other. We have to create universal harmony and love and compassion in 21st century. In order to go beyond 21st century, in order to do the work of the universe, in order to become the hand of God, in order to become the hand of evolution. And we have to follow this arrow of evolution, where we will take this river Ganges of universal welfare all over the solar system and all over the universe, wherever the humanity will go to. That is the universal mandate. So we have to begin with the infinite innocence and infinite trust. That is our evolutionary station of the humanity. And we have to infuse this infinite innocence and infinite trust with the resolution of universal welfare for one and all. And we have to create an ecosystem of universal peace, progress and prosperity for everyone. So we have to follow the methods and processes of creating heaven on earth. That is our real job is. That is our real purpose of existence. And that is the real purpose of our wisdom. And that is why we are here as the wisdom organisms. We are the universal wisdom incarnated, but in the image of Lord Shiva. We have to have the image of Shiva. And I use the word, the molecule of water. So in case you don't want to say word Shiva, you don't need to. You can look at the molecule of water, which is the symbol embodied with the universal welfare, which gives a wake-up call to every other molecule and every other atom in the universe to bring out their most beautiful self in the universe. That's water, that's the molecule of water. The universal welfare incarnated. My dear brothers and sisters, infinite innocence must be infused with the great resolution and great attitude of universal welfare. Like Lord Shiva, like the molecule of water. Thank you very much and have a very, very beautiful day. Thanks.